This is Ace Attorney Investigations 2, also known as Ace Attorney Investigations The Prosecutor's Path, as it has been so called by the fan translators. I remember mourning that this game wouldn't see a translation years ago, as Capcom kept this game from leaving Japan. It was a bummer, because, well, Investigations 1 was my favorite game in the franchise, and felt a lot more involved than most of the games in this series. In terms of pure gameplay, it also had a well-paced story, and wasn't alienating to newcomers. Investigations 2 was finally translated by the fans, and a beta patch has been released just this year. For the most part, the fan translators did a great job in bringing out the game's charm, and they put in quite the bit of effort, with adjustments to the credits and even their own sound files used for the new characters. Of course, it's not all peachy, as the translators let in some horribly dated and unfunny references. Which make some lines reek of the years 2012 and 2013, both of which are years that hadn't have yet happened before this game's release. Just no. Some of the fan voices used for the characters didn't really suit the characters at all. However, considering we're talking about fans here, I'd say it's pretty good work. As for the game itself, well, for starters, it looks just as fine as Investigations 1, and the new characters are mostly well designed in that regard. The music is freaking amazing, even by Ace Attorney standards, which is pretty freaking high. There's some remixes and reused tracks, but most of it is new stuff, and this new stuff has this vibe that feels a little more rock. I really don't have the proper words for it, since I'm no musical expert, but there's a lot more electrical guitar sounding sounds. Gameplay-wise, Ace Attorney Investigations 2 feels much more restricted than Ace Attorney Investigations 1 did. And while I don't think linearity matters too much with the Ace Attorney series, as Dual Destinies proved, I do think Ace Attorney Investigations' strength was that it felt like you had a decent amount of control. In the sequel, though, things are a lot more simple, and you investigate a specific crime scene, cross-examine people, and then repeat as the story moves you to a different location. It's not much of a problem, but it removes some of the agency the player had previously, or at least the illusion of agency. Logic Chess is a nice addition to the game, and varies things up a bit between the standard cross-examination and investigation formula. Although, compared to a lot of similar segments in past Ace Attorney games, it's rather easy, although the time limit does provide pressure. As for the game's story and plot, well, this is where I feel it's either a love it or hate it kind of deal, as Investigations 2 tries very hard to raise the stakes, with each case going to somewhat ridiculous levels. Naturally, as these games go on, the stakes get higher and the drama gets heavier. That's just how sequels usually are. But by Chapter 3, it seriously felt like the game was in endgame territory. And quite frankly, Chapter 3 was the best case in the game. And it's probably the most important in this game to the overall series. Investigations 2 also tries to create a far more interconnected plot, meaning the story itself gets a little convoluted. And although it's still a blast and the drama is high, it gets bogged in its own scale at times, removing some of the satisfaction of solving the various mysteries these games normally present. In that sense, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, and it's what makes this game rather unique in the series. I'd also like to mention the game's focus on bringing back more and more characters from old games. Normally it's nice to see characters returning. Well, it's often balanced with a whole bunch of new characters as well. But this time, by the time you reach the end, it's ridiculous just how many characters were brought back for no real justifiable reason other than to tie this game to the main series. It's not even subtle. In the end though, Ace Attorney Investigations 2 is still a good game, but in terms of the Ace Attorney series, it's about the second worst. Now that's not meant to be too much of an insult, the series rates highly in my opinion, and even the worst game, Apollo Justice, is still a fun time, even though it has that dumbass time travel paradox shit. Really though, it's not going to cost you much to form your own opinion on the matter, and there's still plenty to love about this game after all is said and done. Anyway, that was my review for Ace Attorney Investigations 2. Goodbye for now.